If you're a lineman in charge of keeping the lights on, Grainger understands that you go to great lengths, and sometimes heights, to ensure the power is always flowing. Which is why you can count on Grainger for professional-grade products and next-day delivery, so you have everything you need to get the job done. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Here we're going to see something different from what we usually see. This is a polygraph test and how difficult it is for a killer to get away with lying. Let's get into this.
Where do you stay? I live in Port Orange, but I work, yeah. Cool. Yeah. All right. First and foremost, let's get through all the preliminary stuff, and then I'll tell you a little bit about myself and what we're. Because I mean, I've heard of polygraphs. You see it all on TV and stuff like that, but I'm not really sure exactly how this all works. I'll explain it. It's awesome. What I need you to do is print your name here. Read all this out loud to me. This is your consent to take a polygraph here today. Okay. From what I understand, you're here on an appointment. I guess you made an appointment with the detectives to come down for this polygraph. Well, they made the appointment for me. They asked me if I'd be willing to come in yesterday, and I said, yeah, sure. Okay. So I'm just saying you're not under arrest or anything, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. You're just a witness that they're just trying to vindicate everybody and follow, Yep. Okay. Because I don't know too much about it. I want to ask you a little bit, see what you know about it, and then it should be pretty quick. I know a little bit more, but only from what the news is putting out there, because I have no idea. Well, we all know we can't trust the news anyway. Yeah, they've already tried flagging me down once at work, and I'm like, I'm going to keep walking this way and go inside. Yeah. Because I am not talking to you vultures. So go ahead and put your name here. Read this out loud to me. I just make sure that you know how to read. Reading? What is that? Do you want my full middle name too, or just the middle initial? Middle initial is fine. Okay. Okay. I, Stephen Michael Duxbury, acknowledge that I am fully aware of my constitutional right to reverse, and I do hereby request voluntarily, without duress, coercion, threat, promise of reward, or immunity that a polygraph examination, truth verification / lie detector test be administered to me. I further consent to any electronic recording of the entire polygraph procedure, including but not limited to videotaping. After having the examination process explained to me and having been advised of the requirements and processes involved in the polygraph test, I do hereby request the necessary attachments to be placed on my person, and I do hereby consent to everything that is necessary to be done and to be spoken in order to effectuate this request. New word. I understand that conditions such as hypertension, pregnancy, respiratory, or heart ailments, and any medication that I am taking may affect the results of the polygraph examination. I understand that the examination itself may be stressful and that I may consult with a physician prior to this polygraph examination to determine if it is suitable for me to be tested. To the best of my knowledge, I have no physical or mental condition that will adversely affect my taking the examination today or cause adverse results during the interview / examination. I do hereby release and forever hold harmless the examiner, the agents and or employees of the Orlando Police Department and City of Orlando. I further agree that the results of this examination may be made available to the proper authorities and released by the examiner as deemed necessary. Okay, so if you consent, I ask you to sign here, date it there. Okay. Should have made that appointment with the doctor. Why? What's well, I've been under a lot of stress lately because I'm moving. I've got a wedding coming up. This whole situation happening. I mean, I'm playing hell. Well, we'll get this behind you. I mean, it's just, it's right here. Yep. Yeah, it's just I'm gonna have to deal with any deaths other than, my stepsister dying a couple of years back, other than when I was in Afghanistan, and that was not a fun time for me. It's the 22nd? It is. So it's just like... Now, did you give sworn statements and all that stuff? When I went on the night that all the police officers were there, I did fill out statements. Okay, when you talk to the detectives here, did they read your rights or anything like that? They have not. Okay, well, and this is the same form we use for even employment. We make sure that everyone's fully aware of what their rights are before we even get started. It's just a procedure that we use here, and that's why it's on the back of the consent form. So what you need to do is read each one out loud, and if you understand it, put your initials there, answer these last two questions. If you have a question about any of them, stop me and ask me. I will explain it to you until you understand. All right? It's just important for me to know that you know what your rights are. Okay. Doesn't mean you're under arrest or anything. It just means we're going to be talking about a criminal case. I'm sorry, you got to read them out loud. No, I was sure you. Okay, so you have the right to remain silent. Initial. Anything I say may be used against me in court. Initial. I have the right to talk to a lawyer before and during the questioning. Initials. If I cannot afford a lawyer and want one will be provided for me before questioning without charge. Initials. Has anyone threatened me or promised me anything to get me to talk to you? No, they have not. Do I understand these rights and do I wish to continue the interview at this time? Yes. And date. 2020. And level of education. I'm in college now, so some college. Yeah, you just put some college, that's fine. So what I need to do now is just get a little information from you. You have your driver's license on you today. Just make sure you are who you say you are. I should hope so. Sometimes I don't feel like myself, but that's just my life. Yeah. All right. You're in the Marines? I was Air Force. All right. Yeah. All right, come on, make fun of me now. Come on, I'm waiting. Nah, just kidding. To me, I look at the whole rivalry between the service branches as just brotherly love. It is. It's just, we're just jealous because you get all the nice dinners and nice places to stay. Yeah, actually, to be honest, I was actually a little disgusted when I found out that if, I had been stationed at any other base than an Air Force base, I would have been getting paid extra for living in substandard conditions. To me, I found that to be inappropriate. If me living in the same conditions that an Army or Marine or a soldier or a Marine would be living in is considered substandard, that's an insult to it. Yeah, we start from day one like that. Yeah, no. So, really? The Air Force is kind of pompous like that. All right. Ever been arrested? Yes, juvenile. Juvenile, okay. And what was that for? That was, do I have to discuss my juvenile record? No, we don't. Okay. Well, I'll just put it as juvenile. It's a really jacked up situation that happened. Look, you guys understand. We all have life experiences. We all done stupid shit when we were young. Yeah. And we've grown from those. You're not actively still doing the same silly stuff. Yeah. So it's all part of living and growing up. It's called life. Yeah. And we're expected to do that because we're immature, we were young, and we were stupid. And that's how you learn. So, and no one here is going to judge you because I guarantee I've done probably worse than what you did probably. At some point, we've all done stupid stuff. So, yeah. Nah, basically it was just, my best friend's older sister was babysitting my siblings because they wouldn't listen to me. My mother was a single mother raising 4 kids. We lived in a farm, and this is when I lived in Otis, Massachusetts. Kid that lived down the road kept sneaking over to our farm and opening all the doors, letting our animals out in the middle of the night. We lived on a major highway. Mm-hmm. Well, I had to take the dogs out to the barn. She came with me to help me because I had a golden retriever and another dog. And, I think it was a chocolate lab. And while we were out there, I had forgotten to plug in the cord that gave power to the barn in the house. So it was pitch black, and I thought I heard something upstairs. And I thought, oh, God, that little shit's upstairs. So, not really thinking, I went over to the wall of tools, and I grabbed the first thing that seemed sense to me, which was a shovel head that had broken off the staff. Mm-hmm. I go up the stairs, and she's following me. She was about a year or 2 older than I was. And, she's kind of a little nervous about what's going on. So I'm like, okay, stay here at the top of the stairs. If anyone tries to run by you, stop them. She's like, okay. So I go walking around, but I can barely see anything because, the moonlight, not really, thinking too clearly, looking back. I'm walking, I hear floorboards creak, I see a shadow move out of the corner of my eye, turn around, upside the back of her head. Oh, she had moved and followed me. I didn't know.
Okay, that's a simple mistake.
Yeah, well, that simple mistake unfortunately went right down the worst roads possible. She freaks out, and I find out later that's because she had been raped by her 3 previous boyfriends and her uncle. So she had some severe issues with that.
Mm-hmm.
Her mother hated my mother because her kids felt more comfortable talking to my mother than her. So she forced Becky to press charges against me. State troopers in the area basically assumed I was trying to rape her or something. And then it just went from there. And we ended up having to leave the area. I moved to New Hampshire. They transferred my parole because they put me on parole because I pled guilty, because rather than take it to court and have Becky's reputation utterly destroyed because my mother was her confidant, I took a hit because I'm not going to ruin my best friend's sister or his life over that. And just, I don't know, I probably could have won, but it's like I didn't want to hurt my friends.
No, I completely understand.
So
you said they charged you with attempted?
They charged me with hitting her. They charged me with that, but the prosecutor wanted me tried as an adult. I was only about 15. She wanted me tried as an adult. Did not want me to be left around children. I mean, she just kept piling stuff on.
Okay.
And they never officially charged me with attempted rape or anything like that.
Okay.
But what I ended up pleading guilty to was reckless assault, because the intent to hit was there, but not the intent to hit her.
Right.
When I got to New Hampshire, the parole officer came to the house to meet me. We talked for several hours about the whole case. He got up and was like, by the way, your parole's over. And ended my parole right there. Because he's like, had this happened anywhere else, you would have gotten a slap on the wrist in community service.
So police came on Saturday night?
Yep, they were there actually before I got there.
Okay.
I actually had shown up about 30 minutes early.
Okay. Let's see here. So, when was the last time you saw, what's her name?
I think, well, I know because I saw the news stuff that it's like Sasha something or other.
Okay, Sasha. Okay. So when was the last time you had
Contact with her?
Yeah, what was it, the night before?
Yeah, it was Friday night.
Okay, so when you first had contact with her on Friday night,
yep.
What was the situation?
I had been doing a perimeter patrol, and I had come upon 3 girls that were at the Marks and North Orange entrance, and looked like they were trying to get inside the building. So I'm like, evening ladies, having an issue with the thing, and then I'm kind of chuckling because I see that happen all the time with the drunks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as I'm starting to walk off, then I get called over by 2 of the ladies. And they told me that that this was their friend, and they really didn't know her. They found her wandering around downtown somewhere in kind of a drunken, stupor. I mean, the way she was moving, she looked like she was pretty out of it. And I guess they got out of her where she lived, so they brought her to Uptown, but she didn't have her key fob with her. She didn't have her keys. She didn't even have any ID. And I'm like, well, if she doesn't have any of that, I cannot help her. I cannot allow her into the building based on what my policies are.
Right.
Well, as I'm talking to them, another resident, a male, an older gentleman, comes up, and he sees us all there, and he kind of chuckles. He's like, you guys aren't all robbers, are you? I'm like, no, sir. And, kind of looking at my uniform. And he's like, okay. Opens the door, walks in, she follows. Finish talking with the ladies, I go in. Intent on, finding where this girl is to make sure that, she actually is supposed to be here. She's not just wandering around the building. Well, she was just wandering around the building for a while. Finally, I guess she gets to her apartment, 3:45, and she's trying to enter in the code. She's got one of those digital deadbolt things with the buttons on the outside where you can enter in a code. And
how did you find her on the 3rd floor?
I patrolled. I checked the buildings.
Okay.
I checked the floors.
So how did she get up there? Do you know?
Either elevator or stairs. There are, multiple. There are 2 different elevators and 4 different stairwells in the building.
So you don't know how she got up there, but you were just patrolling, and you come across her on the 3rd floor?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and so she's doing that, and it's like, I cannot let someone just hang around in the building, trying, outside their apartment, if, say if they got locked out, and I didn't know exactly what to do because, she's obviously intoxicated. No, actually, at first I thought she was a different female who we've had issues with that the local police over there are actually familiar with, because she's had other issues where she's, gone home with guys completely out of her mind drunk, and I guess, called them because they're like, oh my God, this guy, I don't know where I am. I'm in this guy's bathroom.
But this is not her?
No, this was not her, no.
Oh, okay.
Now that one lives in, I think, 320. I actually had to deal with that apartment twice because first time she got locked out. Second time she locked her roommate out. But yeah, so she thought maybe she had her key, she left her keys in her car. So she asked me if I would bring her to the parking garage because since she doesn't have a key fob, she wouldn't be able to get back into the building. So I'm like, sure, whatever. I've dealt with this before with other drunks who have done stuff like that. So I walk out with her, and before we even get to a car, she's like, wait, I think I remember the number now. So we go back in, I bring her to the door, she's there punching the numbers away, trying to remember what it is, and I'm just thinking to myself, God damn it. Not exactly the smartest, or not the smartest, but the most professional way to be thinking this, but I have to babysit a lot of drunks in that place.
Oh,
and it's just a pain in my ass. So I'm like, okay, look, I'm going to leave you here, keep trying to, plug away at this. When I come back, if you have not figured this out, we're going to have to do something about this, which is either she's going to have to figure out, somehow get a hold of her friend, or I'm going to call the PD and have them deal with her. When I come back around after walking around, she's not there. So I'm like, okay, she must be in the building. She must have gotten in, because I checked the building, there was no sign of her.
Now, do you have a residence log so you know who lives in what apartment?
I do.
I confirm.
But I can't because she had no idea.
But can't she tell you what her name is and you can look it up and make sure?
Yeah, well, I could have done that. When they were going through the call box initially, she said what her name was, and it did come up on the log. I remember that now. But without her phone to dial herself in, she wouldn't have been able to access the building anyway.
Right.
But plus, most of the residents there will not let some random person into the building. They will actually just know you come in with whoever you're supposed to be coming with, or you call them up. They will not just let people in. So when that gentleman let her in, I assumed, he knows that she lives here. And then later on in the evening during my patrol, I thought I saw her give a look at her face, but the height, the hair, and the skin color was about the same thing. And again, like I said, I'd never seen this woman before, so.
Was she wearing the same clothes?
Well, the pants were, I think, the same, but I think she had changed her top to a white top or something. Again, they weren't doing anything that was really out of the ordinary, so I just kind of glanced at them and just continued on my patrol.
So when you saw her, when you were escorting her to her car, when you first made contact with her, and
she was wearing a purple top and white pants.
Purple top,
yep,
and white pants.
Yes.
Okay. You remember what kind of shoes or anything like that?
I think sandals.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. She was walking, as I call it, flat foot. And she could barely walk. I mean, she's stumbling all over the place. At one point, she's kind of hanging onto me, trying to stay on her feet. So, I mean, this girl was gone.
Okay. And so when you came back, she wasn't around?
No, and I did not see her when I searched the entire building and the parking garage and the perimeter.
Okay. At any point, did you knock on the door to see if she was okay? Or
no, I mean, to be honest, once they're in their apartment, they're not really my responsibility because it's a condo. They're not actually apartments. They're owned by the building, so it's not really my responsibility to check up on people. Plus, I'm not allowed to go into apartments, especially if there's only one person there. I would actually I would have had to either have another person in the apartment with them, preferably someone of the opposite sex or whatever, or a police officer with me, because that's a liability I am not setting my foot into.
Okay.
Because I've had other residents invite me in, say, oh hey, yeah, you want a Pepsi, you want a Coke or anything like that. I've been propositioned by residents before, and it's like, no, I am not going in there.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a liability that's just not worth the risk.
I get it. So I guess it's fair to say you've never been in her apartment?
No, never.
Okay. Well, this should be pretty easy. And so the next day, what time did you leave that day?
I leave about, I get off shift at 6 a.m., but usually I don't leave till 20, 30 minutes later because of finishing up my report, changing into civilian clothes. That particular day, I'd actually taken some trash out to the dumpster because I found some after I turned in my report. So I figured I was in the hallway. I think it was on the second floor. So about like 3 bags worth.
Do you remember what apartment it was in front of?
No, unfortunately I don't. I just, as I was walking through, I saw, I'm like, I'm on my way out anyway.
Do you normally do that, or?
I just saw it on the way out. I mean, if I'm on duty, I take snapshots of it and I leave it there, let the office deal with it, but I was already off duty and I wasn't going to just fill out a whole new report just for 3 bags of trash. So I just said, screw it. It'll be nice for the housekeeping person. I just threw it away for them.
All right. And so there was 3 bags of trash.
Yep.
Did you look in and see what it was or anything?
No, they were tied off and I just grabbed them and threw them.
And what kind of bags were they?
White, just like your white hefty bags, I guess.
Oh, like regular?
Yeah, just regular trash bags with
kitchen bags?
Yeah, with the red drawstring things or whatever.
Okay. And you took them out
to the dumpster?
To the dumpster?
Yeah.
And you did that on your way out to leave, or did you take that out?
I took them out and I came back in to get my stuff and then I left.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was heading towards where I leave my stuff and then I saw that, so I was like, screw it, threw it away, came back.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then,
I went home.
so you go home,
Mm-hmm.
and you come back the next day at what time?
About 9:30ish. I'd gotten there early because I made good time. And I saw that there were 2 police vehicles parked over by the little parking area before you get into the garage. So I stopped, went over to the officers, identified myself as a security officer for the building, just because I want to know what's going on. I figured maybe there was a car accident or something like that. At which point, they told me they were here doing a check on
well-being?
Yeah, well-being, or actually I think they said missing persons, because I figured there were a couple of people there that I guess were, they identified as their friends.
Okay.
And they asked me if I had a way to get into any of the apartments, which I don't. And he's like, oh, well, could you go to this apartment and meet the officer there? I'm like, yeah, sure. Go into the building, park, go over to the 3rd floor, and I meet with the officer, and he's there punching in numbers, trying, I guess, checking to see if it was a police officer override code for these kind of locks or something. But he couldn't access it. And he asked me if I had keys. I'm like, no, don't have access to the apartments.
So when you got there, were you in uniform that time?
No, I was wearing a Deadpool shirt and pants and, my shoes.
So did you change first before you went up there, or you just went?
No, I went straight there because I wasn't actually on duty yet. I was still off duty.
Okay.
And when we, couldn't get access to officers, like, well, if you want to go change, go ahead. We'll still be here. I'm like, okay.
So how did they get into the apartment,
I honestly do not. I think they either got a hold of either the family or the actual owner of the condo who was renting it, and they had the code.
Okay.
I pretty much, once they were doing their thing, I pretty much stayed away from them because I didn't want to, bother them. And if they needed me for anything, it was later on that evening.
About what time?
I honestly don't remember. I remember them saying that they, initially when they told me something was going on, they said, well, we have a crime scene, and that's all we're telling you. Because I'm like, okay, well, I got to call my boss. And later that night, I guess the property manager said that either they told her or she overheard, I can't quite remember, but they said that they discovered a body.
Okay, so now have you heard how she died at all?
No, I mean, I heard a lot of, possibilities because I was talking to my boss and he's like, well, based on what you said, I mean, she was that drunk, she could have died in her sleep from alcohol poisoning.
Mm-hmm.
I have been following the news, and I guess now they're saying that this is a homicide investigation. So I'm assuming.
Well, when they don't know,
they assume stuff like that.
They always investigate as a homicide until they can rule it otherwise.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, I still, other than what the news has said, I just know what I've been told by property manager, the officers, and my boss, which hasn't been much.
Okay, so you have no idea what her cause of death is?
No.
No. Okay, you never overheard anybody say anything about that, or you have any speculation as to how she may have passed?
No.
Okay.
I mean, other than, like I said, what they told me, I mean, as bad as it sounds, I kind of hope it was, she just died of alcohol poisoning, because if not, it's like,
How old was she?
I don't know,
Guesstimation.
in her 20s maybe?
Wow, that young?
I mean, it could be mid to late 20s. I don't know. I'm terrible at judging ages. I mean, when I first met my mother-in-law, I thought she was in, her mid to late 50s. Turns out she's almost 80 years old. Wow. Then again, she's Asian, so, they kind of are hit or miss. Yeah, they look young forever, or they turn ancient in a heartbeat. And my wife has actually been mistaken for a high school student a few times.
Well, God bless her.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Okay. So let's see here. All right. What I'm doing is I'm kind of formulating some kind of questions in my head based on what you're telling me. Okay. What can you tell me about polygraph?
It's a lie detector. I know you're going to be sticking electrode things or whatever, basically sensors to me, and it's going to measure my response based on the questions you ask me.
Yeah. Yes and no.
Kind of it.
The media back in the early 20s dubbed it as a lie detector. That's not really a lie detector. It's no more a lie detector than it is a truth detector. Basically what I'll be doing is constantly recording your physiological changes in your body. Now what are those? You ever heard of fight, flight, or freeze?
Yep.
Okay.
That's that personally.
Exactly. So that's basically how it works, is the way our bodies react to certain dangers or stresses, okay? Obviously, you're probably nervous here today because you've never had a polygraph. Yeah. Your nervousness is not going to affect the test whatsoever, okay? What's going to happen, you've never had a polygraph before, you said earlier?
No.
Okay.
I never actually got a top secret security clearance, so I never was required to take one in the Air Force.
Okay, well, it's not a big deal. We'll talk about it, and I'll explain everything to you before we even get started. And since you've never had a polygraph before, I'll give you a sample test.
Okay.
And there's a few reasons for that. One, it'll allow you to have the components attached to you and actually go through a test, see what it's like, and realize that nothing here is going to hurt you. There's not going to be anything shocking you, nothing like that. The worst thing about it is the blood pressure cuff. Okay, your hand will get tingly a little bit. That's all it is. I'm sure you've been to the doctors before and you had your blood pressure checked.
Yeah, actually, that happens to me even without it. Like, I could just be sitting like this, and this whole side of my arm will go numb.
And what causes that? That muscle?
That's actually something I just remembered now. I have actually been diagnosed as having myopathy, is it, or something like that? In this arm, but I'm pretty sure it's in both, on the nerves on this part of the arm. But they assume it's just because the way my arms rest when I'm typing at the keyboard that it's caused some
kind of like a carpal tunnel thing, kind of thing?
Kind of, but instead of like it causing pain, it just causes numbness.
Okay. Well, good. It may actually help you not feel pressure from the cuff.
Awesome. Yeah, so I honestly, some of my medical stuff, unless it's like something major, I really don't pay that much attention to it, which is probably not a good idea.
Well, we'll do the sample test. We'll go over that whole thing. And then we'll get into a couple of different things. Now, what I need you to do is circle number 95, real big. Perfect. All right, so now we're going to practice how this test is going to go. These are the questions on the test. Okay. Regarding the number you circled on that piece of paper, did you circle number 92?
No, I did not.
Just a simple yes or no? Okay. Did you circle number 93?
No.
Did you circle number 94?
No.
Did you circle number 95?
Yep.
Excellent. However, what I want you to do on this particular test, and this test alone, is when I ask you if you circle number 95, I want you to say no. Okay? So write the word no next to here. And what are you doing when you say no?
Lying.
Write the word lie. All right. And like I said, this is the only time I want you to do this. Okay?
Yep.
Did you circle number 95?
No.
Did you circle number 96?
No.
Did you circle number 97?
No.
Did you circle number 98?
No.
Excellent. Any questions about that? No? Okay. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to see what it looks like. It won't. But see, the basic thing is when you were this little and you were able to, when you started getting into trouble, and you lied to your mom about something, what happened when she caught you lying?
You got it beaten.
Okay, you got in trouble, right? So as you got older, it got worse and worse, right?
Yep.
Because lying is what? Bad, right? You've been taught that since you were very little, so it's instinctive to you. So what happens is Your first pet was?
Cat.
Okay, and when I asked you that, you kind of looked up, and then you had a picture of what that cat looked like.
Mm-hmm.
A vivid picture, just like you watched on TV, right?
Yep.
And that's how our brain works. It's like a big DVR. It stores all our memories. So when we ask a particular question, it'll go over, select that memory, and project it like on your forehead, and you'll see it, okay? So when I asked you that, boom, you saw the picture, cat. That was the first answer. Now, if you wanted to lie to me and say it was a dog, you would have had to process that. So your first initial thing was going to say cat.
Mm-hmm.
So if then you're like, well, I want to say it's a dog though. So now you're engaging another part of your brain.
Mm-hmm. And there'll be a slight delay.
Not only a slight delay, but that causes your autonomic system to kick in because you know you're about to lie.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened when you used to lie?
It was bad.
You used to get in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do that, your autonomic system will kick in.
Okay.
Whether you realize it or not, it's going to do that because you're programmed from when you're this big, that lion's back. And you never wanted to get caught lying, did you?
Nope.
There you go. So that's why it works. Okay. So you see how quick you were with cat?
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be the same thing here. You're going to look at it, and because I'm going to put it on the wall so you can see it. So as I'm asking you questions, I want you to just go right down the list. And you're going to see that.
Mm-hmm.
And so your first response is going to be yes. But you're going to have to decide to say no, and that's going to cause a problem. And with your physiological changes, it'll show up. All right? Make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
All right. So any questions or concerns so far? Need to use your restroom or anything?
No, I'm just feeling a little tired. That's the only problem right now.
All right. Well,
This is normally when I'm supposed to be sleeping, so.
we'll get you through this. Do you have a cell phone on you?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I left it in the car. I figured it'd probably not be a good thing to bring in here.
Excellent. Yeah, I turned mine off. So I just didn't want anything to be a distraction for you. Didn't want it to vibrate in your pocket and cause a reaction like that. So now you automatically thought about it.
Yeah, that's vibrating.
All right, go ahead and stand up for me and remove the chair. Okay. All right, have a seat. Okay. All right, what I need you to do is put your hands together like you're praying and lift them up and lean forward and lean back. I'm just going to go in your upper abdomen here. What I need you to do is exhale. All right, next one's going to go in your upper chest. No, I don't need to do it. And exhale again. All right, now you put your arms down, and you should go a little, then relax a little bit. Lift arm up.
Is it easier with this rolled up or no?
Nah, it's not going to be a problem.
Okay.
That's cool. Better like that. All right, now you see the space in between here? That's where the customs go.
Okay.
All right, your index finger. And your ring finger. All right. So, like I said before, instructions are very simple. Feet flat on the floor, sit straight up just like you're sitting. Relax. And I'm gonna put this on the wall before we start. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say, okay, the test is about to begin. Please remain completely still and answer each question with a simple yes or no. All right?
Okay.
When I say that, no more moving until I tell you, okay, you now can relax. And I'll take the pressure off the cuff.
Okay.
All right? What I'll do first is I'm gonna calibrate your breathing and your electrical activity, your fingers. And lastly, I'll do the cardio because I don't want that on there for a long period of time. All pumped up. You ready to do this number test here?
Yes.
All right, perfect. All right, the test is about to begin. Please remain completely still and answer each question with a simple yes or no. Regarding the number you circled on that piece, are you relaxed?
So I wasn't really thinking on that last one. I figured that would be kind of like the 95 that you wanted me to say no.
Oh, you did fine. Awesome. Well, definitely the polygraph is a good tool for you. You're definitely capable. What is your normal heart rate?
I have no idea why. Is it high?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been noticing, like, was it like 130 or 140 or something like that?
Yeah, it was like 138.
Yeah, that's what they were getting towards the end of my career in the military. Even when I went to the VA, it was kind of high.
For a resting heart rate?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, the last couple of years I was on a profile because of the rhabdo thing because they kept trying to test me. They were contemplating doing a med board on me. So I kind of out of shape.
It's okay. I was just curious because when I saw it that high, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Making sure there wasn't any medical issue there.
No, well, I also noticed when I'm tired, my heart rate seems to be pretty high also for some weird ass reason. I'm tired.
Okay. So the first kind of test we're going to do is, it's kind of like a weird test. It's called, it's basically to find out if you have any knowledge as to how Sasha ended up being deceased.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you very specific questions.
Okay.
All right. So just like we went over the numbers question, I'm going to go over the questions before the test. Okay.
Okay.
These are going to be very simple and straight to the point.
Okay.
It's going to basically this is how it's going to go. Do you know if Sasha was poisoned?
Now, do you want me to answer these now? No.
Was she shot with a 22?
No.
Was she stabbed?
No.
Was she choked?
No.
Was she shot with a 38?
No.
Was she hit with a hammer?
No.
Was she hit with a chair?
No.
Okay. Plain and simple.
Okay.
All right?
Sounds good.
All right.
I can feel my heart beating on these things.
That's okay. And actually, let me change this cuff and let you roll your sleeve up.
Okay.
Just to get better tracing. If you can roll your sleeve up.
That's not contagious.
I'm not worried about it.
Well, I just didn't want you to worry about, like, I'm pretty sure you're actually picking these things up anyway. After every person.
Yes, I did.
Oh.
All right. All right. So as far as the pressure on your cuff, I'm gonna bring it back a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was noticing it's actually keeping one of my fingers was raised.
Yeah, I'll back it up just a little bit because I was getting a really good tracing, but since I pulled your shirt up and got bare skin, I can back it up a little bit. So you just let me know when your hand feels good enough and we'll get started.
Okay.
You're good to go?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought when you said good enough, I meant like as you were flying.
All right, squeeze a couple times for me like we practiced. Perfect, really. Do it one more time. And relax. Relax.
I do not like having a vivid imagination of what I do.
What do you mean?
Everything you said, I should just picture happening to it.
Well, we don't know if it was any of them.
I know, but
I'm asking specifically if you know.
I know. Just animals. I'm the security guard for the building. Supposed to go there. Keep that place secure, make sure things don't happen.
Well, you know what? You can't be everywhere at once. Let's even look at it. We're being very specific here.
All right, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I get it, but it's very important for you to focus on the task at hand, okay?
Yes.
I'm asking you very specifically if you know something.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't.
And so, as I'm asking you,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't think, just answer.
yep, and answer honestly,
Mm-hmm.
okay?
Yes, sir.
That's the important thing.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to go through some comments before.
All right, well, let me know when you're ready to go. We're going to do this again. All right?
Let me check right.
All right, squeeze a couple times for me. Relax. One more time. And relax. Well, you're on the 150s now.
Oh, God. Just get right. That's fine.
All right, you ready to get started?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, the test is about to begin. Please remain completely still and answer each question with a simple yes or no. So we got that out of the way. Now, I want to go through some questions on this next test.
Okay.
All right. Now this is all specific as far as the incident at Uptown. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's more directed to make sure that you had no involvement in anything that may have happened to Sasha. All right.
Okay.
So these questions should be very specific for you, and you should have no problem answering these questions.
Okay.
All right. Because what we talked about, I did, after we talked, I jotted down some questions. So here are the questions that I'm going to ask you about that night.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Did you enter Sasha's apartment that night?
No.
Okay. Do you know who caused Sasha's death?
No.
Did you cause Sasha's death?
No.
Did you remove any items from Sasha's apartment?
No.
Okay. Very straightforward, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now some of the questions are kind of about you. It's about your character. Whether or not you're the kind of person that would do something like this if it was something that, you know, if something was to happen to her by somebody else, that you weren't the kind of person that would do that. And, you know, the FBI has done all these profiling and they did all this research and interviewed and did all these studies as far as people who would do something like this would do other things, okay? And based on that, I've come up with some questions as far as to make sure that you're not that kind of person. Okay, so if I was to ask you, before last year, did you ever threaten anyone with physical harm?
Well, does jokingly count? I mean,
No, we're talking serious.
Actual. Okay. Sorry.
Did anyone piss you off so much that you threatened them with physical harm? You're not that kind of person, right?
No. You'd have to do something to actually provoke me to that level.
Right.
So
okay. Perfect.
Sorry, because my friends and I joke like that all the time.
No, we're not talking joking. We're talking
actual.
Threatened
mean to do it.
Exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
All right. Prior to 2006, were you ever so angry with someone that you wanted to hurt them?
Yes.
Okay. What was that incident about?
Someone's knocking at the door.
No, that was my foot.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
What incident comes to mind?
The uncle that raped me when I was 9 years old.
Okay, so you didn't tell me about that.
No, but
I didn't ask, but
yeah. Yeah, no. Yeah.
Okay.
Not something I'm proud of, but yeah, not someone I'd really just skip over if something bad happened to them.
Let's see here.
Sorry, I didn't realize that would be.
No, and I'm not trying to get your personal past.
No, I understand. It's something I've come to terms with. And it's just he lives here in Florida somewhere. Hopefully, I never run into him.
All right. So if I was to ask you, before last summer, have you ever lost control of your behavior because of your temper?
No.
Okay. And then there's going to be a few questions. They're called technical questions.
Mm-hmm.
Is your first name Stephen?
Yes.
Do you work at Vital Security?
Yes.
Do you now live in Port Orange?
Yes.
Were you born in New Hampshire?
Yes.
Okay. So, any questions or concerns about any of those?
No.
No? Okay.
Burping in between isn't going to cause an issue with the thing, is it? I hope. I don't know why I'm really gassy right now.
Just try to control it and breathe normal. Like I said, these tests last about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
We'll get you in.
I just got to hold them out.
Is your first name Stephen?
Yes.
All right, the test is almost complete. Please remain completely still. I take the instrument out of operation. Relax. 5 minutes and 10 seconds. So we're doing good.
Say, well, this is all over. I think I just focus on the move and wedding.
I'm going to get you. I'll let you relax your hand for a minute, get that blood going back here. What we're going to do is we're going to do at least 2 more of those exact same tests, same questions, same answers, and just in case if there's any anomalies in the charts,
Mm-hmm.
I'll run an additional 1 or 2
Okay.
because I basically need at least 3 good charts in order to score it properly for you.
Okay.
All right.
Everything looking good though?
Yeah. Everything's looking great.
Excellent. What time is it right now?
It is 5:20. So if everything goes well, we'll only have 2 more of these to do. They're 5 minutes apiece.
I'm just trying to figure out how much time I'm going to have to lay down between now and work before I have to drive back this way. I don't have to be to work till 11 tonight, so leave by 9:30. I might be able to wait out for an hour. Or I might stick on my boss and say, yeah, I'm not going to be able to make it tonight.
Well, let's worry about this.
Yeah, okay. Sorry.
This is more important, right?
Yeah, no, you're right, you're right. Sorry, the way my head goes, I just don't think of everything. I try to plan ahead for everything. Yeah, I've been for 2 hours already. Almost 2 hours.
It takes a little while, you know, I did your background, talk for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The test is actually doesn't take very long.
Yeah, it's just everything else leading up to it.
Yeah, I just got to get a better, you know, generalized idea about who you are, the kind of person you are, and then a little bit about the knowledge of the case, and then boom. You just let me know when you're ready. You good?
Yeah, good to go. All right.
And give me a couple squeezes. Relax. One more time. And relax. All right, you ready to go?
Mm-hmm.
All right, the test is about to begin. Please remain completely still and answer each question with a simple yes or no. Is your first name Stephen?
Yes.
All right. All right.
Yes. Like I said, tired.
All right, Stephen. Oh. My hot mess of paper.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What I'm going to show you first is this one right here. All right. So you're not trained in polygraph, right?
No.
You don't have any training in polygraph, right?
No, sir.
Okay. So, and you don't see any of the questions on here, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, looking down these questions, other than this, because I had to bring it down, because you would, what do you see that stands out to you?
Just kind of the wave pattern, just that one right there with the down.
Well, the down arrow means I moved it,
Oh, okay.
because it was going down below, so I had to move it back up.
Okay.
It's kind of like this, see?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But as you follow it, and you follow this one right here, which one is bigger and stands out to you?
That one.
Okay. The second one is the same thing. What jumps out at you?
And that one.
Okay, so this one. So it's always number 4. Okay. And you pick that out yourself. Okay. And you're not a registered or certified polygraph examiner, right?
No, no.
Okay. So put this out of the way. So now we're getting to the relevant issues on at hand. All right. So same applies here.
Okay.
What jumps out? I mean, just jumps off the page at you. Any particular? Each line is a question.
Okay.
All right.
I know some bunch of them, they kind of, right at the beginning, they kind of loop up a little bit, or bubble out in some cases.
At the beginning where it pointed out to me.
This one, this one, this one, this one, this one, that one.
Mm-hmm. Right, but we're looking for the ones that just jump out at you. The biggest changes you see.
I say these two.
Okay. And down here.
That one.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of, I guess this one too.
Okay.
It's because there's two lines and that goes up.
Okay. So you're seeing that yourself, right? All right. So you said R3, R5, R8, R9. Mm-hmm. Okay. Whoa. Look at that. Something jumped out of that at you?
I mean, that one, the line kind of goes up over the thing. That is good, that line.
Yeah. Huge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jumps right out at you.
Mm-hmm.
Is there another one that jumps real way out there?
Yeah, that one over there.
Okay.
Again, it goes over one.
Okay, R8. This one look bigger than this one? And bigger than that one?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
No, I mean, yeah. I'm sorry, it's not as big as the other two.
And you said R8's big,
Mm-hmm.
and not so much there.
Mm-hmm.
Which one have more? So we got R8, R5, so we got R3, R5. And
This is what's pretty cool.
this one and this one. Which one? And you can look at that.
Yeah, that one, yes.
Okay. And one and a little bit. Between this and this.
Left it up into the bigger.
And this is a hot mess because that's when I asked you that multiple times.
Yeah.
But see how your whole heart rate went up like that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's kind of similar to this and that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now you're picking out. So we're both in agreement. Now you're helping me grade this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So you're telling me R3, and this has been consistent on every chart, right? So we got R3, R5, R8, and R9's questionable.
I guess, I mean, I wasn't really paying attention to the R parts. But,
Well, these are the numbers that you've been picking on all the charts, okay? So now, read the question to R3.
did you enter Sasha's apartment that night?
Read R5.
Do you know who caused Sasha's death?
R7. I'm sorry, R8.
Did you cause the death of Sasha?
And R9.
Did you remove any items from Sasha's apartment?
Okay.
Okay.
So basically what you told me, okay, I let you look at the charts. I let you tell me what jumped out of the screen, off the charts at you.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yep.
So we are of the same opinion that the only thing that really seems to be bothering you on this test is these relevant questions that pertain to the situation that we're here dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
So, how it's scored. All right, I'm just telling you all the technical stuff.
Okay.
Okay, so we score the relevant questions. Okay, and that's how we score. We compare the relevance to these other questions.
Okay.
Because, and this is how it works. I don't know if you did any research on it. Anyway. All right.
That should have been one of your questions.
That's okay. I thought about throwing that in there because you had advance warning, but to me it's not a big deal. I would, I see some issues with the breathing. I mean, when I'm able to count and it's constantly the same count, it shows me that, it's kind of questionable whether you were thinking about your breathing, but that's neither here nor there. Because I only need 2 of the 3 tracing, or here 4. to get a good score for the charts. Okay, so here's my score sheet. Relevant 3, 5, 8, and 9. Okay, the P is for the breathing. These are the two, they're called pneumograph tubes. Okay, so it starts with a P. So you have the top one, bottom one. We look at the R3 compared to R6 and the 4. You know, we compare them and we look for any differences. Here, for the most part, on all charts, I didn't really see anything different on any of the breathing. So your breathing didn't change at all during the charts. Okay. E is for the electrodromal activity, which is this middle line here. Okay. So what I do is I compare this. So I count. See these little squares or rectangles? I count how far it goes up compared to the control questions. Okay. And I compare those, and it either gets a plus or minus. In this case, when a person has more issues with the relevant question than they do the control question, then, you know, because we all know, and we've all had these issues where, you know, there's been a time in your life where we've had physical contacts or physical issues with people. Okay, and we've been in fights, we've done all that stuff, and it's kind of, we know that, but when we ask the question, you know, that's supposed to bother you more because you know you're kind of lying about that because you're remembering an incident, compared to you shouldn't have any problem with the issue at hand if there was nothing involved there. Okay, so technically the control questions should look like this, and the relevance should look like the controls. Okay. So what you're saying is this is not good? This is not good. Okay. All I need is a -3 in any one of these spots. You got a -3 in all of them except for a -4 and a 0 and 1. For this to be a negative test. Okay. Okay. Now, what does that mean? That means you have some memory and some issues with these relevant questions. Okay. Now, you know, the issue is, my thing is after talking to you, I don't think you're a bad guy. You're a really smart guy. You seem to be a good guy. You've had some things happen in your life that's screwed up. Yep. And, you know, and you've had to deal with a lot more than most people had to do. And I get that. But there comes a time where sometimes things happen and people freak out. Okay? And they make a mistake and then they panic. And, you know, it comes to what would look better, you know, because right now there's, you know, the detectives, they have, you know, stuff they're looking at and they're getting reports back with, you know, all the forensic stuff they're doing. And I know you've been cooperating, and that's a huge, huge factor for you. Okay? That is huge. But the thing is, when it comes to this, okay, you know, obviously my report's going to say that you didn't do too good on this test. Yeah. All right, and I have to explain that. Okay? So, you know, I'm here to listen to you. If you want to talk and explain to me why you might have had some issues on these questions. Okay? Because if something happened, it was an accident, and you panicked because maybe, from what I understand, she was being very flirtatious to other people, and that's what got her there to the apartment, because those two girls grabbed her before she got in a car with some guys. And I don't know about that. No, I know you don't know. That happened before she got to the uptown. Okay. These girls didn't even know her, and that's why they told you. Yeah. We don't even know her. But what happened is we took snatch of them. All right, because that was very important. And that's why I kind of did the first test first to get that out of the way, explain to you and clear those issues up. All right, so that's very important. And because I wanted you to take the best test possible. Okay, that was my goal. And I think I succeeded in that. Yeah, I mean, I was trying not to think of anything, just answer the questions. And you yourself was able to pick out every spot that looked like a reaction. Yep. I didn't even have to point them out to you. Okay. I'm good at analyzing patterns. Okay. Well, without even being a polygraph examiner, you were able to show me each question you had issue with. And every single one of them on every single chart was the relevant questions. So that means there's something there. There's something that you're not telling the complete truth about. Something's bothering you about this situation, and you're not being 100% honest with me about it. That's what I can tell you, and that's all I can tell the detectives, that there is something there that you're not being 100% honest about. Now, if she invited you in to have a few drinks or something like that, or whatever it was, you need to be honest about it, because this is saying you know something, and that something happened. This is what this is telling me. And you yourself agreed that these were the situations.
That's something that points out, but I mean...
Like I said, sometimes things happen. If she was over flirtatious and something happened and you panicked, we can understand that. But if you conceal that and, all the evidence comes in and you had your opportunity today to talk about it, it's not going to look good, because if it was an accident, that's one thing that we can explain away. But if you don't talk about it and it comes back, it makes it look like you're, what? A monster. Okay? And I don't think you're that kind of person. Okay? The same stuff happened to you when you were little. You told me about that.
Yeah. And recently with the whole getting stabbed thing.
Right. So you told me about that.
Yeah.
Okay? So you understand what it's like. And so, for that being said, you got to understand that we need to explain this stuff away. It's very important for you. Okay? You were the last person to see her. Okay? And based on your own opinions on this chart that you pointed out to me, okay?
Obviously
something's bothering you. We need to get this behind you is what it is, because, like I said, this can go either way. You can either look like a horrible monster, or an accident happened and you panicked, and we can explain that kind of stuff. But if you don't talk about it, it's not going to look good. And
I don't know what to talk about. I mean, nothing happened. I never went into her apartment. So, I don't know why I reacted the way it did.
Because your autonomic system that you can't control kicked in. You have no control over that. That's why this works so well. Now, let me show you another thing. One more thing. I'll show you. You heard of DNA evidence, right? Yep. Okay, so when it comes in, it says, 1 in whatever million people. Okay. Now, what I do is, I don't trust computers. I hand score my stuff. Okay? So now I'm going to let this do it. What's that say?
Significant reactions. Probably this is what was produced by a truthful person.
0.003%.
I don't know.
I can only help you so much. Okay?
No, I understand. You've been very helpful explaining these things to me as it is.
It is what it is. It's, this is the report that detectives are going to get. So what I'll do is I'm going to explain to the... You come in?
Hey, Dr. David,
How you doing?
pretty good. Thanks.
I was just showing you, this is the computer scoring the charts. 0.003% chance that the results were produced by a truthful person. So that's basically 99.7% chance that he's being deceitful. Okay, so now I'll let you guys talk. Are you okay, Steve?
Well, not anymore. Based on what this thing is telling me.
Steve, I've been doing this for a while. And I really don't think you're a bad person. I really don't. But sometimes good people do bad things. Does not make you a bad person. Sometimes you just overreact, or sometimes you could be enticed into doing something. One thing we're asking from you, Steve, is just the truth. It's just the truth. Okay?
Yeah.
That's difficult for a lot of people. But you've been in the military. You have a lot of life experience. And I understand some bad things have happened to you in life.
Yep.
And lying is never going to make it better. Because I can see it in your eyes, Pete. I can see it in your eyes. Something has been laying heavy on your heart ever since you found out. It's been laying heavy on your heart. Have you thought about anything else?
Just that something bad's happened on my watch.
Something bad has happened. And we need to talk about it. We need to talk about it, see. There's certain things, obviously, that we already know. We know you were actually, you guys were on, how many floors were you guys on?
First floor, third floor.
Is that it?
That's what I can remember.
You don't remember being on the fourth floor?
No, not really, no.
No? Are you sure? Or something you don't want to remember?
I don't remember being on the fourth floor.
Listen, see, I will tell you this. I'm not saying Sasha was a bad person, but she was very flirtatious. Very. We were tracking her from downtown where she's trying to pick up guys. So,
She
we know.
She wasn't flirting with me. I mean, other than, leaning against me in the hallway because she could barely stand. But she wasn't flirting with me.
She never flirted with you.
No.
She never asked you to come inside the apartment.
No. If she had asked me to come inside the apartment, I would have told her no.
But this is the problem. According to what I'm looking at.
I don't know. But I've been asked by other residents in the past, too, to come into their apartments. And I've also told them no. I had one offer me sexual favors, and I declined. The only person who knows that other than me is my supervisor. Because we didn't want to embarrass the resident because he was drunk at the time. Or possibly just lonely and maybe tipsy, I don't know. I take my job seriously, and when my job says I'm not allowed to go into someone's apartment, I don't go into someone's apartment. The only time I would ever go into someone's apartment is with a detective like yourself, or a police officer, or an EMT or something, someone that I have to go in with because, doing something within my duties. Whereas,
So how do we explain this?
I don't know. I am bothered by the situation, I will tell you that, because something has happened to someone in the building that I'm responsible for, that I'm supposed to keep everyone safe. Yes, I've been bothered by this since the moment I saw and heard about this situation. It's been bothering me. I've been having a hard time sleeping because of this. I've been terrified of what's going to happen when I go to work tonight because I know I'm going to be having residents asking me questions. I might even have newspaper people trying to corner me. Now, this whole thing is bothering me. And I knew this was going to end up happening because this is not the first time I've had police officers assume I did the worst thing.
When was the other time?
Juvenile record.
Okay.
Yeah. The juvenile thing that I pled guilty despite the fact that I was innocent because I didn't want to destroy a friend of mine's family.
A couple of things.
Yes.
Just as the detective said, good, bad things happen to good people sometimes. Right? I didn't do what I was accused of. Okay. Second thing is this. I know you take your job seriously. I believe you. I can see the way you carry yourself, the way you are there, a little bit that we saw you take your job seriously. We looked at your reports. You're very serious. Methodical, what you think?
Yeah.
Meticulous?
Yes.
Don't miss anything?
Try not to.
For the most part, you would say you don't, right?
Yeah.
You document things, don't miss anything.
Again, like I said, I try not to, but everyone's human.
Right. But for the most part, when you see a violation or something happens, you notate on your records, correct? Okay. So, with that being said, we have an issue.
Okay.
Okay. What garbage did you take out that day?
Some trash I found on my way out after I turned in my report.
Where did you find it?
I think it was on the second floor.
On the second floor?
Yeah.
From what apartment?
I don't remember.
You don't remember? That's happened to you before?
What, not remembering? Or
No, finding trash.
Yeah, usually I find it during my shift.
And what do you do with it?
Usually I just document it.
When was the last time you took trash out?
Usually don't, because when it's on my shift, I just deal with it.
Where was your car parked?
On the second floor.
Okay. And you said you were on your way out,
Yes.
but you came back in.
Yeah, because I had to get my stuff, and then I went back out and left.
So you weren't really on your way out.
I was on my way to get my stuff.
But you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I know what you're saying.
So, we have an issue.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't report that, did you?
No, it was already after my shift was over.
But it's still a violation, right?
Mhm.
Somebody
It looked
violated, and you never mentioned it?
No, it was off my shift.
I understand that. I'm not saying it wasn't, but still, you say you document things, you don't miss things, right?
Yeah, once on my shift.
Right. So you understand how that's starting to look?
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
Right. Okay. So you take that with, we know you're on the 4th floor with her, right? Where did you first see her when she went inside?
She was, when I first saw her.
Well, I mean, your statement to us before was you went inside to go look for her, correct? Okay, where was the first place that you saw her when you found her?
So maybe it was either the second or third floor. Maybe honestly, which floor.
Because your first statement, your written statement said you found her by her apartment. That's what your statement says.
Yes, I am.
So why does your statement say that?
You're confusing me.
I'm not trying to understand. Understand. No.
Understand,
I'm
I'm
just-
exhausted.
I know you're
I'm
tired.
nervous as hell right now because now you guys are basically accusing me of doing something.
No, sir. We're just trying to understand why we're getting the reaction we're getting, okay? That's it. Because we have to explain that. And we have an obligation to the family and to our superiors to be able to explain that. Because we say, well, I couldn't explain it.
It's not
You understand. You got to do your job.
Yeah, it's just that when the whole bad things happen to people panic stuff. I know how that sounds, and I know what that leads to.
What does that lead to?
It leads to, next thing I know, I'm a suspect. You guys think I did something bad.
We're just trying to understand why.
I'm bothered by these questions.
Yeah. And we're understanding, we're looking at your statement, your first written statement.
Yeah.
And I've seen you write reports. You write very detailed reports.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in this
I'm
report,
on the spot, having to pick everything right from out of my head. I'm not very good on the spot.
it's not necessarily on the spot when they talk to you and you wrote a statement. It's just you didn't say.
Well, everything's going on. I don't know what's going on. I'm confused. I'm trying to remember everything that I can about the situation. But basically, to me, that's someone.
She did not have the ball, so she could not get in.
Yeah.
So the tenant allowed her to go in. And you tell us, then you start doing your rounds, and you encounter her on the 3rd floor.
That's on the first floor.
This is on the, absolutely. So you see the problem that we have?
No, I can understand what the issue is here.
Okay. You're going to have to let it go. You're going to have to tell the truth.
I am telling you the truth.
This will bother you. This will eat at you. It will eat at you the rest of your life. That I can guarantee. We can deal with the truth.
What will eat at me for the rest of my life?
That you're not being truthful.
I'm being truthful with you.
You can say that, but there's just so many discrepancies in your statement. Things that even day one didn't make a lot of sense to us. Don't you think you should have allowed her to? Right. Okay. Shouldn't you have made sure that she was inside of her apartment?
Yeah, I should.
Okay. We see you guys coming from the parking garage, which you did tell the truth about, because you guys didn't quite make it, and something happened, and you guys come right back in. I think you said that she said she learned the code. Okay. And you guys go right to her door, and she's punching in that code. Is that accurate? Because there's audio. I'm partially aware you have audio along with you.
Actually, I didn't know that.
You,
No,
you did?
No, I didn't know that the things were actually did audio until the property manager had actually showed myself and my supervisor.
When was that?
That was actually the night that you guys were all there. The night I took my verbal statement.
Right. So there's audio.
Mm-hmm.
So I can hear the things that you guys are saying.
Yeah.
And we know she's putting in her code.
Mm-hmm.
What happens after that?
It still wasn't working.
What did you do?
I went and walked around. I told you.
And just left her there?
Mm-hmm.
Not knowing if she really resided there?
No. And like I said, when I came back, if she had still been there, I would have dealt with the situation, either told her she had to leave, or I would have called you guys and had you guys remove her until something could be done about it.
I want to give her the opportunity to go walk around again. So we're trying to understand this.
Basically,
We're trying to understand.
I was giving her the benefit of the doubt, and because honestly,
But that's not your job, is it?
no, it's not. And so, it's not my job, and I was reprimanded for doing that already by my supervisor, actually by my boss. And yeah, what I should have done was stayed with her, made sure she got into her apartment, and then left. But I have to babysit drunk kids in that complex all the time. I have other things I need to check to make sure that people are not breaking into apartments. I've had people try to get into the property before it did not belong. They were trying to sneak in. So around...
Yes, yes, but we can agree that you can't be every place at every time, can you?
Exactly.
Right? You can only be in one place at a time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, so let's agree that if you have people sneak into a door downstairs, you would have to deal with that, correct?
Correct.
And if that, while that's going on, something else happens up on the third floor from the parking deck. I'm sorry, let's make it different floor. Let's say the fourth floor and fifth floor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Something happens where somebody breaks the door, does something, right? But you're downstairs and you're dealing with a legitimate issue. Are you going to get in trouble for that?
Not really, no.
No. We can agree on that, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Then why did I...
But as I said, would you call this a pressing issue? I mean,
Yeah.
well,
The reason why I did what I did was because I've had cases before where I've had drunken people get locked out of their apartments. Usually, yeah, I'll leave them there, let them try to figure out what they're trying to do. I'll go do a walk around. Hopefully, by the time I get back, they've figured out the situation. It has happened in the past.
usually you find those people right at their apartments.
Yeah.
Okay. Why did you go specifically after she walked in the door? Did you go floor by floor by floor to find her?
Because I wanted to make sure she was okay. She was obviously drunk and intoxicated, and I had to verify whether or not she was actually...
So then the question comes back to why would you leave her if she's so drunk, so intoxicated? Where
Because
she
I
went?
left her at the door, and I pretty much figured she wasn't going to move from that spot. She was going to stay there and keep plugging away at that stupid key.
But do you understand that?
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, and yeah, I agree. That was a stupid thing for me to do, was to leave her alone.
It's on video where you're chasing her at one point.
That's because she thought she'd be funny and started running off.
Well, that's my question. If it's not that big of a deal,
I've had this happen before. Again, this is not something that's completely out of the norm for me to deal with drunken people doing stupid shit.
right, but I still come back to, what I'm trying to understand, and I keep coming back to it, is you went floor by floor by floor looking for her. She's running. You're going to try and find her. And basically, this is a problem. It's taking up your time.
Yeah.
And I understand you're saying, well, you know,
I don't want to
give her
I don't want to have to call you guys for... Yes, I can agree. Yeah, we can agree that.
So it could have been a problem that she was inside,
Yeah, they could have.
but you did not.
I should have.
Steven, I have an issue with something else too. I'm going to tell you. I look at human behavior and human nature, okay?
Okay.
And I have an issue with something.
Mm-hmm.
We've been doing this for a long time. And everybody that we've spoken to about this case
Mhm.
has asked us several questions. What happened? How? When? You've never asked any of it. I don't understand
I
that.
don't want to know.
Why not?
Because I don't want to find out that something happened on my shift that I could have prevented had I been around. And then that's going to eat away at me for the rest of my life.
What else could it be? What do you think? You're kind of on our side. I mean, what would that indicate to you? Possibly.
Someone who doesn't care.
Somebody knows.
And you think I know.
I'm just saying. We have to be, you know. We have to
No,
look
I
at
understand.
things.
It's you guys' job.
Well, it's just something we look at.
Mhm.
So now you look at, you've got these garbage bags that you didn't report to anybody. You're taking them out to the second floor
Dumpster.
where well, the dumpster's there, but your car's there too. Okay? There's things missing. Right?
Okay.
We looked at certain things match up, and, you know, there's holes in your statements. Every time we talk to you, there's more and more and more that comes out. And that just gives us a lot of pause. Okay, so, you know, the thing is, you know, we're not going to talk about general. You know, sometimes, you know, there's things that go out of our control, and it's something that it happens like that. But the thing is, people don't have intense, you know, like a car accident. You look down for 1 second at your cell phone, and the next thing you know, you're in a fatal accident, and the person on the other side is gone. That's an accident.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, you still have to answer for that. You still have to deal with it. But it's a lot better than if you drank 6 beers and got in the car and drove. I mean, that's a purposeful act. Wouldn't you agree?
Or at least a really stupid decision.
Well,
But
you know what I'm
I'm
saying? It's purposeful. Somebody said, I'm going to do something I know I'm going to do, and they go in and, you know, I'm going to drink these beers, I'm going to drive and fuck everybody else, and that's what's going to happen. And they kill somebody. That's a hell of a lot different than somebody, oh, I looked down for 3 seconds on my cell phone. Oh my God, I can't believe it. I'm so sorry. How do you think a jury's going to look at a person like that versus a person who purposefully drank and drove? How do you think a jury's going to look at that? How do you think society's going to handle somebody that says, you know, I swear to God, it was an accident. I didn't mean it. Versus somebody who purposely does something to hurt somebody or cause a problem with society. How do you think they're going to look at, we've got A over here, B over here. How do you think society's going to look at those people?
They're going to look better on A than B.
Right. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes things happen. And you know what? Everything that we're looking at, there's problems with every little bit of what we're looking at. Okay? I don't think you're a monster. I don't think you're a bad guy at all. I think you're an honorable man. The temptation sometimes, man, holy shit. She was a pretty girl. Wasn't she?
My wife's smarter. Sorry.
Well, that's okay. You know what? Hey, look at some of these superstars. They got the hottest wives going. And what do?
Yeah.
They'll go find some $100 whore and they'll screw around with them because it's different.
Yeah.
We're guys. There's
We're
temptation.
programmed to
There's
do
temptation everywhere.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that, you know, your wife could be the hottest thing in the world. I'm not saying she's not. But
No, I've looked. No, she's looked. She's looked.
sure. And you said the one that offered the sexual favors was a dude.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a little different. Okay, so let's talk about a girl, a pretty girl. 9 times out of 10, you're going to say no because it's your job. It's who you are. Every man stumbles and every man falls sometimes, and it causes us to do things. Now, if that's the case, and it happened, it's not going to go away. Understand that. It's not. But remember, society is going to look at you one way or another. Did you want to hurt this girl? Did you want to hurt her?
She's one of the residents that I'm responsible
No,
for.
well, this is my question. No, listen. Did you want to hurt her? Because there's predators out there that are going to go and do things on purpose. And then there's people that are going to fall into a temptation situation, and shit's going to happen. And the next thing you know, fuck.
They're pressing hard, trying to make Duxbury think he'll look better if he claims it was an accident. He won't actually be viewed that way, but if they can get him to believe it long enough to get a confession, that's all that matters.
But again, that's just like the person who texted versus the person who drank 6 beers. This is the time. This is your time. Okay? The physical evidence is still out there. I know things were done, but that doesn't mean it's going to be perfect. That's a big gamble you're taking. You want to sit and wait, and if it comes back, we're going to say, yep, here it is. We got the physical evidence now, and he didn't tell us anything, because that makes it look like you're that guy, this guy. Purposeful. I'm going to take what I want, I'm going to do what I want. Versus this guy. Okay? I'm not trying to get you to say anything that didn't happen. I'm just telling you the way it works. You understand what I'm saying? You didn't want to hurt her.
I didn't hurt.
So Stephen, can we at least agree that you did go inside? Now you may not have heard her.
I did not go inside of her apartment.
There's a lot of physical evidence.
Even after she invited you in?
She didn't invite me into her apartment.
So you know there's audio. There's audio. We can hear you too.
She didn't invite me into her apartment. And if we're going to continue on this line of discussion, I think we're done here for now. Then I'm going to go home, I'm going to take a nap, and I'm going to go to work. If you guys want to talk to me again some other time, we'll have a lawyer involved, because at this point, I don't feel comfortable talking with you detectives. Because it sounds to me like you're trying to make me say something like I did something and I did not.
We want the truth is all we want.
Well, you have the truth. I'm sorry that some of my stuff has been kind of spotty. I'm sorry I may have forgotten some key details or even minor details that look really bad when they're not told. But I have told you everything. I've been more than cooperative. I mean, I even told you yesterday that I wasn't familiar, and I'm not kind of nervous about these things. I still came in today.
You did.
Now I'm looking at this, now I'm seeing this as a mistake to come in for this, because now it just makes it look like I did something, because obviously I'm bothered by the situation. There was a dead person that I saw in the building I'm responsible for the security of.
Well, one thing I can't do, Stephen, is change it.
I know,
you do understand that.
No, I understand that.
No, I understand you've already said that you're done for the day.
Yeah,
I do understand that, and I respect that. But you have to know this isn't going away.
Okay. I know. I understand.
I'm looking at it now, and to be honest with you, I wish it was the other way around.